Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Learning Torah Lishma. I was speaking to one of the truly giants in our generation, someone who finished Shas many times, huge Talmud Chacham, does Kiruv 24/7. He meets people on Shabbos and they tell him about their son or daughter going off the derech and how he helps them. So we're talking about real stuff. And he tells me what I know his children, and especially this son of his I know very well. He tells me that his son got divorced and then later on he got remarried again, and he tells me about the story. He says that he says it very casually, my son went out with this girl, she was fat, she didn't, but he liked her, and I was thinking of that, and they ended up getting divorced. I know people try to make you think that that skinny people get divorced more than fat people. It's not true. If anything, it's 50-50. And since there's insecurities when you're fat because you really should be skinny, there's a certain more likelihood of getting divorced because of that. So, I'm just someone that says the truth. So So this is what I'm told. And I was just thinking, listen, if you're you as a parent should want you should want your children to marry a beautiful girl, right? And it's not like because you're fat there's more nice people. If anything, if you're skinny, there's more of a chance that you're a nice person. That's the truth, because you're not insecure. You don't grow up insecure. Now, if someone was fat and then became skinny, then that could be different. But usually they're so happy now, and especially getting married, they'll change very quick. And fatness it's not just physical ugliness, it also leads to bad character trait because you're insecure with yourself. So this is, it's just truth. And of course, I talk about in my shurim, in my Jewish classes, that if a person is fat and they just feel they can't do anything about it, of course there is, but if that's the way they feel about themselves, then don't be negatively fat, be positively fat. You understand? Realize it. And there's people that like people. I've met people that want someone that's fat. They're out there. Are they numerous like the sand on the earth? No, but they're definitely out there, and you have to be less picky. What's interesting is I find that skinny people are less picky than fat people, which is very interesting. I'll find this fat girl and she'll be saying, I want this, I want that. And then you have someone skinny and they're very easygoing. So, people try to make you think you really need to get experience of life to realize what is truth and what is false. You understand? Because if you're going around life, especially in crucial aspects of life that will affect you for your entire life, you and your kids, and you make a mistake, that's really bad. That is seriously bad. So I understand that it's hard for people to hear, especially for women, and especially a woman that's fat. It's hard. First of all, she should know that today there's no question that she could change. she could get the weight off and keep it off. There is no question with the understanding of the human body today, there is no question that could happen. You have to decide if you're going to allow it. And a lot of people do decide that they allow it, but when their parents see them that they're skinny and the parents are fat or the mother's fat, then she's like, you feel like she stopped loving you, and then you gain back the weight. These are literally, I'm not talking about, this is what happens. These are true things. The parents try to keep you fat because, especially the mother, because that sort of validates her. And it's sad how parents could love you so much, but at the same time harm you so much. That's why it's extremely important, and one of the most important things in life, besides realizing that God exists, that's first and foremost. But second to that is becoming an adult as fast as you can. At 6 years old, I want you to have the wisdom of an adult, to have the strength of an adult, to be put together. Now, because you're so young, it's not healthy to get married then. And that's why legally it's not till later. You understand? But you need to become an adult. You need to become an adult. And that has to be a given. Anybody that's trying to stifle that, telling you not to go to work is one of the most important aspects of becoming an adult. People who didn't go to work stay children forever. They're babyish. They're Kleinkite, Very, for people that are smart and talk with them, very unimpressed by them. So you need to take this seriously. Things need to change. Things need to change. And this is crucially and so important. And if people would stop, if people, instead of using their energy to force the whole world to work against the way Hashem made things work, if people would stop using that energy to try to change people's opinions when they have a good point. She's fat, she's nasty. You have a good point. When people, if the girls would stop using all their energy, and all these female boys would stop using their energy to fight against that, trying to get you married, girls older than you, act. If they would stop using their energy for that and actually use that energy to go to a high-level nutritionist, it's worth the money, and fix yourself. Sugar, it could be that there's a lot of sugar in your body and it's just swimming, and the sugar just makes all the fat go into your body. All the nutrients just turn into fat. If you just lowered the sugar, then we're talking about artificial sugar. If you just lowered it, you would be losing weight just by the fact that your body, because of the sugar, isn't pushing it into every crevice in your body. You need to, there are losers and winners. You need to decide, I want to be a winner. You need to have strong conviction of that. Losers are the ones that are always complaining, and they don't change, they don't put in the effort, they don't even think about how to help themselves. They just think of how to complain. And unfortunately, those people keep on getting more control and ruining the entire world. And we have to come out and say, get out of here, you nasty fat son of a bitch. Not because we want to say that, but because that's the only way to get them out. If you feel that you can't lose weight, you feel you can't, even though you could. But I respect that. You understand that. You understand that there is a percent of people Again, I've met people like this that want someone fat. They don't want someone skinny. They want someone fat. And you realize that, and when you're approached by someone like that, or someone sets you up with someone that wants someone fat, you get married, you don't give a hard time. You could have a good life just like someone that's skinny, but it's because you say that I want to have the same attraction as someone skinny. That's why your entire life is miserable. Just understand the difference, get married, and you could have a happy life with your husband. The whole thing of skinny fat could be forgotten when it comes to marriage. Of course, there's health things. There's I think there's like a 4% people that could live healthy with fat, you understand? But that's a different topic. We're talking about getting married and having a happy marriage. Stop fighting against Hashem. Stop fighting against the men. Stop fighting against reason, common sense, things that make sense. Stop fighting against it. Use that energy. Maybe if you use that energy, you would find the power in yourself to become skinny. You understand? It's 100% possible. I've seen it. I've been to a lot of fat people's houses. It's because they don't want to get rid of the Nash cabinet. It's because they can admit that for 10, 20 years they're fat and they could have been skinny. And they have to have the white sugar. They have to have mezainis. They have to. It's not, to them, it's not normal not to have. You're being not normal not having it. Being healthy is not normal to them. And they need to fight with they need to take they're wasting all their time with trying to turn the whole psyche of people the other way, which will never work, because you're fighting against God and you're fighting against truth. If they would use that energy to get rid of the garbage in the house, and you'll be surprised, eating healthy in many scenarios is cheaper than eating unhealthy. Look how cheap fruits and all these things are. I'm not saying every fruit, but there's tons of fruits that are very cheap, very good priced. And even if it costs more, it's worth it. You'll live longer, you'll live happier. And like the rabbi told me, he told me, don't ever become fat. He says, I have to take these pills. If I don't take these pills, I die. That's what a big rabbi, we're talking about a huge dayan, told me when I was very young. And he says, and this is what he told me. He realized the situation. He actually tried many times to lose weight. He lost a bit, but he's still, big. Not big like what people are thinking. Humongous. He's big. But he realizes his issue, and because of that, he takes care of it. And now he's alive. Imagine if he was one of these, he thinks it's healthy to be fat. Imagine if he was that type of person, screaming at everybody, thinking that he knows better. Imagine what would be then. He would have much more severe health problems because he hasn't recognized the truth that for 96% of people, it's unhealthy to be fat. It's very few people that could be fat and still be very healthy. It's very rare. Does it exist? Yes. And even though it does exist, those people could also choose to be skinny if they want. It's a choice. You need to change the way you eat. And you can't care about what anybody's telling you. Anybody who's trying to give you impressions that you should become fat again, that it's fine your weight, you don't have to lose anything. You, in your mind, you have to be violently against that, and you have to push those type of people out of your life. And if it's someone in your family or a parent, you have to call them out. Tell them, what do you mean? You're stopping to love me because I'm losing weight and you didn't? Is that what a parent does? You have to call them out. I see this a lot. Parents want their kids to be fat, especially mothers, because they're fat. And this is horrible, horrible, a travesty. You have to love yourself to such an extent that you want the best for yourself, even if someone wants something bad for you. You love yourself so much that you're going to want the good thing. And you have to love your children so much that even if you made a mistake for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, you're going to want your son or your daughter not to make that mistake. I love you, and Hashem loves you more.